Do not adjust your digital device. What you are about to see and hear may shock and appall you. Join our hosts as they encounter countless thrills, spills, chills, and hilarity as they explore the very weirdest in pop culture. The following media is so strange, so beyond the scope of what is normal, it will make you ask the question, why does this exist?
Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Why Does This Exist? I'm Chris.
And I'm Rob.
And we've got a really nice show planned out for you today. We are going to be talking about a comic book that is written by, or started by at the time, in December 2009. It is written by a 5-year-old. But that's not the weirdest part. It's drawn by his brother, who was 28 at the time. How that happens? Divorce, probably. But nonetheless, it did happen, and it came in, and what came to life was this wonderful little web cartoon, web comic called Axe Cop that came together and ended up having a huge life of its own. We're going to talk about that tonight, and we also are going to talk about probably many other things and go on tangents because that's kind of what happens here. We'll try to keep this to be on the shorter side just because, one, you can only talk so much about this. Two, we don't want you to freak out and say, "Oh my God, I'm here for 3 hours." We've been doing that lately where we're moving away from the 3 hours, and we're gonna try to make sure that everything from now on is like an hour to an hour and a half tops.
So, yeah, I would say the only time we would do like a 2 to 3 hour episode is if it was like a really big subject, like the ones that were 2 to 3 hours were WrestleMania and View Askew Universe, which were like there was a lot to them,
right? So, and we turned those into 2-parters anyway.
Yeah.
But I forgot which one it was, but there was one of the, I think one of the first 3 where it just went into like 2.5 hours on its own, and we were like...
I think it was the Lovecraft one.
Yeah, that's right, it was a Lovecraft one.
Yeah.
So, again, big subject, but we're going to try to be a lot more succinct with these things. All right, so let me get down to this thing. For those of you who have found the podcast for a while and constantly listen to it, we want to thank you very, very much. And for those of you who are brand spanking new to this thing, hi. We're going to talk about some weird stuff, and that's about it. But if you've got any tips that you want to share, you can feel free to let us know how we're doing, and also send a tip our way on something that you'd like to see us talk about. And you can do that by either emailing us at whydoesthisexistshow@gmail.com or by just going on to our YouTube channel, Why Does This Exist, and putting down a comment and telling us whether or not you like it, being nice to us, and just commenting in general. Liking our stuff, it all just helps the algorithm. Subscribe to our things, hit that bell that everybody hates because it's annoying, and just like many things on YouTube, it is a really stupid idea that they had and they put there anyway because, well, they hate their content creators. Speaking of comments, we've got a lady here, who gave us a little update on our Tiger King stuff, but let me get this stuff out of the way first. You can also, if you want to give us a little bit of money and help us grow the show a little bit more via production or to just pay our bills, you can do that by supporting us on Patreon. That's patreon.com/whydoesthisexist. And by giving us a little bit of your hard-earned shkarol, you in turn have access to bonus content, which is banter, watch-alongs, listen-alongs, of just us reviewing TV, just us talking, just us watching TV shows or listening to music and just having our live reactions. We will also give you a shout out on the show, and you can even pick a future episode. So there's a lot of really neat perks there. And you can also find us on anywhere in digital media device land. That includes Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Pandora, TuneIn, Alexa, iHeartRadio, Player FM, and Listen Notes. And if you're going to get on Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. Would you kindly leave us a review? And it will help boost us in there as well. But, all right, let me just get right to this. We've got a lady here, Miss Merlin's Magic. She's been commenting on a Jeff Lowe thing, which our Tiger King stuff has been doing pretty well. So there's a little bit more of an update on Jeff Lowe. This specimen, if you will, and his wife, a specimen in her own of her own right, has done well. They're up to no good as usual. So this lady in particularly. She said Tim Stark and Jeff Lowe were recently busted for abusing his animals. The feds removed Tim's animals, and he beat a snow leopard to death with a baseball bat, which that's unbelievably terrible. Like, this is apparently the Tim Stark guy. He was the guy on Tiger King who, like, nobody really, like, talked about. Like, he was kind of there, but, like, they barely featured him. And he was like another like big cat person, and this guy, also huge degenerate. Baseball bat beating a snow leopard to death. Why would you do that? Why would I don't know. There's something about these big cats people that they're just all out of their minds. And then we replied to her comment, and then just saying that's horrible. Like how could something like this happen? And then she has since given us a huge rundown. Tim Stark was trying to get involved with Jeff Lowe's newer Tiger King Park in Thackerville last year. Lowe got busted and all of his animals confiscated. Tim Stark's Animal Park Wildlife in Need was in Indiana. Tim has always been a horrible abuser, was busted by the feds in December 2020. This past February, in and out of jail, COVID era, has been filming himself in suicidal rants on Facebook. Okay then. Now blaming his psychiatric conditions for criminal behavior. Not sure what to do. Not sure what I do and don't believe about Jeff Lowe's claims of poisoning with the stroke he had in March. With that, we've established he probably made that up. He actually is the least abusive of all the psycho U.S. private big cat roadside zoo owners, believe it or not. He and Joe both, not Tim Stark, Jeff Lowe, I think is who's she referring to. Right. Which, kinda, because all he does is well, not like all he does, but like what he does is him and his wife, they're like gross swingers. So like they go to Vegas with like a tiger cub in their they traffic these poor little baby tigers into like big Vegas casinos, and they they just prey on like young couples who are just looking for like a good time so that they could have like an orgy. It's really gross, and honestly, I really hope this guy goes down in. Well, I normally would say I hope this guy goes down in a Ponzi scheme, but it seems like he's behind several. So yeah. So I hope I hope they just really get him. He and Joe would have both done better by their animals if they're bad decisions. So I'm continuing the comment. Would not have dwindled their animals' food supply money. Jeff was harboring some of Tim Stark's animals that the feds did not take from Tim. It was those animals that were left on Jeff's property after the feds seized Jeff's animal and Jeff and Lauren moved away. Baskins is evil. She has the law twisted into her own power. I do not doubt that at all. For me,
Yeah.
the topic is open-ended. I follow this all closely because I at one time knew Joe. I have lost some favorite big cats in all this mess. It doesn't seem like she's a big cat owner, but I'm not sure. Or it was. It seems like she just visited the zoo and she was like friendly with him, and it's just sad because like some of her favorite ones are just caught up in this nonsense.
Yeah.
A little bit more of an update on like Jeff Lowe, and then we can really start this show going. Thank you very much, Miss Merlin's Magic. We appreciate you, and we appreciate the update. I hope that you and your family are great, and thank you for listening to the show. Alrighty.
And, that whole situation just gets crazier and crazier. It's like,
Oh yeah, no. Why would it not? Like you can't write this.
more
These
deeper and
people are
deeper.
just insane.
Yeah.
Oh, so here's what it was. Yeah. So like when she had told us Jeff Lowe had nearly 70 big cats seized from the property, that's what she was talking about, which is insane. But these lovely people, and I mean that in like the in the most sarcastic sense of the word, in case you can't hear. Him and his like this. How do I say it nicely? This big POS and his goddamn crazy ass wife were both arrested for a DUI this weekend. By the way, they have a small child. They have like a 1-year-old or something like that. Not to mention that they have like the hot nanny that was like part of the deal of having a child. So
Right.
don't get me started on that freaking shit. So like apparently these guys now they got they picked him up. He had a slur of speech, both of them basically. So this guy is of course they get arrested on DUI and both of them. Why are people allowed to have children again?
Good question.
All people like why isn't there a test for this?
This poor kid's gonna be like just ruined immediately before he's like even had a chance in life.
Yeah, honestly, get this kid away from these people as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. Like and they like he hasn't shown to like another court date, so like I don't even know. It's just insane.
I mean, he's gonna go down. That's just a fact.
He will eventually, but like they were booked in the jail and they were released shortly afterwards, which is like why? They're like why would you do that?
Because if they're not a danger to the public, then there's no point in keeping them in jail.
All right, fine. Yeah. I mean, personally, I think they're menaces to society. Thank God for the people versus Larry Flint. As far as our commentary on these humans go, like, it just boggles the mind, and it makes my brain hurt. Speaking of things that'll make your brain hurt, how'd you like? And things that should happen to bad guys. How would you like it if you got your head chopped off by a policeman who found the perfect fireman's axe? Probably pretty bad. But
yeah.
Who cares, because you'd be dead. And no longer a bad guy. For some reason in the world of Axe Cop, the bad guys can only properly die when you chop their head off, which, let's be honest, they'll get the job done.
I mean, that's like friggin' how every zombie story works, essentially.
Absolutely. And Axe Cop is this wonderful thing. So right now, we are getting on with the goddamn show, and we're getting into the crazy, beautiful world of Axe Cop, the webcomic by brothers Malachi Nicole and Ethan Nicole, who were 5 and 28 when the series began.
Mm-hmm.
Malachi comes up with the ideas and the stories. Ethan turns them into the comics. This initially started out when they were like, well, he would go down and he would visit his Ethan. He would go down and he would visit his cousin. Why do I say cousin? His brother.
His brother.
his much younger brother Malachi, and the two of them would the two of them would play. This was essentially their play date. Say hi to your parents, and then go down to hang out with your little brother, just bond a little bit. A nice wholesome family thing. The proper wholesome family thing, if you will. And they get together and they're playing, and there's one day they start playing a game called Axe Cop, where Malachi just he's just being a 5-year-old, where he's got these crazy ideas that don't make any sense, but they make perfect sense to a child because children are being innocent and pure and not caring about what anybody else thinks because they just want to be in the moment and not caring who sees. Because that's honestly, I wish adults were more like that sometimes. You can't take everything too seriously, and that's kind of how children are. They don't take anything seriously because they're just learning about everything, and then that's the beautiful nature of children. And they kept adding to Axe Cop stories every time that Ethan would go down to visit, and he just started drawing things. I guess it was as a joke. I'm not really sure if he had started doing it as a joke, just drawing it out, or he just got an idea and he did it, showed it to people, very much I guess very much how the Ninja Turtles got started by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, where it was just a joke drawing that they just kept going back and forth of just adding things to a turtle to make it more ridiculous to make each other laugh, and then here we go, multi-billion-dollar franchise here many years later. Kind of a similar idea, I guess, and he threw it up on the web at axecop.com, where you can check that stuff out. And it's eventually it kept getting bigger and blowing up, and they got a deal with Dark Horse Comics for for a few graphic novels and just a compilation of a lot of the webcomic stuff. I at one time had every Axe Cop. I no longer do, just because I just needed to clear out a bunch of stuff, and I hadn't read it in a long time, and I just kind of reread all of them and then just donated them to my local thrift store, because I figured, what, if I'm not going to read it, I think somebody else can really take a lot of joy in this, because I know I did. There was one time I was reading Bad Guy Earth. That's one of the Axe Cop graphic novels. I think it's the second installment, but it's the first full on story arc that they did specifically for Dark Horse. And I remember I was going to your house for a band practice, and I was on the train here in New York, and I just read it cover to cover, going at Port Authority so that I could take the bus down to you, and I just burst out laughing throughout the whole thing, and, to the point where I couldn't control it, and just people were looking at me funny, and proceeded to then show them what it was that I was that made me laugh. And they did they either didn't get it, or they were this is some crazy stuff, I don't want to know. Or where they had some questions, there was Wexler right there, and they're why is the T-Rex wearing sunglasses and it has machine gun arms? And I'm a 5-year-old wrote this, and they were what? It's a long story, but now does this make sense to you now? And they're well, you'd have to be 5 to come up with this shit. And I'm yes you would.
Well, it's you said before, the children really, aren't corrupted, and they aren't inhibited by society, what society would think. So, they're way more creative than an adult mind, because they can, first of all, their brain is it's constantly getting new information and growing and stuff. So they can just have this wild imagination. And second of all, they're not they haven't been jaded by Earth just being a person yet, so they still have that innocence, and they're not afraid to express their creativity, and even if it's random and a non sequitur, it's just more creative than anything, really, because they don't have those inhibitions.
Right. And I mean that's honestly what makes it so fun.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, it's a silly little, story. The characters are all funny, you know. We checked out for the watch along for those who subscribe to our Patreon. We actually looked at the Axe Cop animated series, which was actually on network television.
yes, it was
Um,
on Fox as part of Animation Domination.
yeah.
You can watch it on you can watch it on Hulu. I believe that's where we watched
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Just on like just a heads up to you folks. The video portion was cut off by the Cockmasters over at Hulu. I don't know, like it's an NBC thing. Peacock, we said that on the WrestleMania thing. So if you don't get the joke, you don't get the joke. But the Cockmasters at Hulu, they did not like that we were trying to show people a video, so it is audio only.
Yes.
If you want to watch it, then and like sync it up. I forget exactly which mark it is, but don't worry about it. You can find it, and after like the first couple of minutes or whatever, and then and then you could just go from there.
Yeah.
You could hear a commentary, or you could just give us the finger and just like watch it by yourself.
Yeah.
But anyway, as you were saying,
Yeah. I just lost my train of thought. So yeah, the show like really kept this humor, which I like because a lot of times because obviously it was adult writers that they it was based off of Axe Cop and the characters of Axe Cop, and the brothers obviously had some creative control there, but it was being written by TV writers, but they really did manage to capture that surrealist non sequitur humor that the actual comic strip has, um, which is important, I think. Because it really that's the allure of Axe Cop is the fact that it's written by a 5-year-old, but his brother is a comic book artist, so it's like the words of a 5-year-old, but the the visuals of an actual like professional artist, and it looks great.
yeah, I really liked the animation style. They didn't like. I liked the dedication overall. The style was similar
Yes.
to the comics. They didn't try to do anything avant garde with it. They didn't do like there wasn't like a whole big like overproduced by the studio or the network. There wasn't a whole we know better, so we're gonna like just do our own thing with it anyway. And they just like ignored the source material because there's too many places. There's too many times where you'll see a studio doing that. We're looking at the DC cinematic universe
Mm-hmm.
in particular, where where like you might just bastardize the source material because a big studio just goes, oh well, we know better. We'll get our guys in there. They just like credit they credit like the creator as like as like an executive producer, and they just give them a credit, but they don't actually like let them do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Where it could have gone this way, but like they cared about this thing. The people who were put in front of it, they cared about this. They didn't worry about they didn't just like think who they are and just like do their own thing. They really tried to keep it true, and they got the voices to act like actually like the voice cast that they had was actually really good. Nick
Yeah.
Offerman is actually the voice of Axe Cop, which
Mm-hmm.
very appropriate. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they could. I'm sure there were. I'm sure there were other voice actors that are strictly voice actors that they could have got that might have done a better job. But I think Nick Offerman just did a very excellent job of bringing that character to life.
Yeah.
And I can't picture a different voice for it, which is what you want essentially. Like you want that to be like you want like when someone lends their voice to a character, you want it to be like something that you can't recognize anywhere else.
Yeah.
Where like if you see the person, you're not going to think, oh, that's not Axe Cop. Like you would see it and you would hear it and you would say, oh crap, that's Axe Cop.
Yeah.
That's what he did really well. And I mean, it's like we've I'm sure we've talked about this before on the podcast, but it's like how Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy, regardless of who plays Batman on the big screen in the movies or who the Joker in the live action movies, though, like Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill are Batman and the Joker to
Yes.
you and I and many others because of how good they were on the animated series and how like they just really left their mark and imprinted it.
Yeah. I mean, I think also it really matters how like what you grew up watching too. That kind of gets like imprinted on you, you know, because we grew up watching that, you know, the Mark Hamill Joker and Kevin Conroy's Batman. So that was like our exposure to Batman for most of our life, you know, or most of our childhood, I should say. You know, so I think that like also contributes it a lot to that. You know, that it's whoever you grew up with, because you know you ask like an older person, and they'll say Batman is Adam West. You know, so but like for us, because we grew up watching the animated series, like Batman is Kevin Conroy and the Joker is Mark Hamill. So it's like one of those things where like, you know, it really is generational. But you know, going off what you said though, is Axe Cop, you know, being played by Nick Offerman, it really is, he really can capture that like stereotypical like cop voice. So it's perfect, and it like is exactly what you would expect for Axe Cop.
Right. I mean, all right. I guess another one would also be Rob Paulson.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's as accomplished as they come.
Yes.
Everyone usually recognizes the animating, like they recognize Pinky, and they also recognize him as Yakko for the most part. He's also He's also, you know, I mean, there's also like a bajillion. This guy's done like every.
Yeah, he's like one of the most
like
prolific
Leonardo Yes, Leonardo Donatello. I mean, even Spike from freaking Land Before Time, which was the easiest gig in the world, because all he did was show up and go here for like that's it for like God knows how many movies, and he like just didn't have to do anything while everyone else is training their voice. They have to get a new Littlefoot every time because like the Littlefoot actor would they always
grow up, right?
Yeah, they always got a child to be Littlefoot, so Littlefoot would get too old after like one or two movies sometimes. Is when like the kid would go through puberty, the voice would crack, so he can't be Littlefoot anymore. And like they're like whenever they got the new one, they'd always say, "Oh, Littlefoot went in the tar pit again."
Yeah. Well, it's like the problem with like Hey Arnold too, because Hey Arnold used all child voice actors, and they're supposed to be playing like, you know, fourth graders. But like then they started going into puberty, and their voices all started getting deeper, and it's like, okay, 9-year-olds don't hit puberty, so what the hell's going on here? You know,
right.
Like
I mean, South Park fixed that problem, but that's a completely different animal. I guess the idea of just like having the kids in there just started from Peanuts initially. I can't think of anything else where they went like that goes farther back where it was like known for using for having children voice the children. I mean, maybe there was, I don't know, but to my knowledge, I don't. I think that was really the first one, or at least the first one that's like widely recognized as having been in there. But to get back to the Axe Cop voice cast, we also have Ken Marino, who was a Flute Cop. We'll get into that there. Flute Cop is his brother. Ron Hubel is in there. He plays Gray Diamond / Mark Frankenstein. Don't ask these names. It's created by a 5-year-old. Megan Mullally, I hope I'm not butchering that. She plays quite a few characters. Patton Oswalt is Sakurang, which is a luchador wrestler with socks for hands. And Tyler the Creator actually was on an episode too, was Liborg. So they have like a very prolific cast. Like like in the episode that we like Sam Elliott's Axe Cop's dad on one episode. Like they got a bunch of like randos that were just like, wait, why? Like that's interesting. Why is this person there? Like on the episode that we did the watch along, Giancarlo Esposito was the Army Chihuahua guy.
Yeah.
You know, it's just so random. I actually saw something like a month ago that like Giancarlo Esposito is like in the running to be Magneto in the next X-Men reboot thing or whatever it is they're gonna do.
Really?
I listen. I think he'd be really awesome. They had like concept of him like as Magneto. I think he'd kill it. I would love to see that. They also had so to get to more people, they have like a bunch of other people. They even got good old Mr. Krabs, Clancy Brown, for like several.
Oh, really? I didn't know Clancy Brown was in. That's hilarious.
Clancy Brown is in everything.
He is in everything.
You can't get away with that guy. And even Ethan and Malachi have like done voices as well. Ethan's done voices on like episodes 4 and 5, and then Malachi does the opening narration for this. Hell, Jordan Peele like did an episode. I don't know. They did a bunch of stuff, and there's Tara Strong in for one another, like very prolific. If I'm on here, it's the hour, so let me just cut to the chase right there. The very good, diverse, weird, like hybrid cast of everything and everyone. You know,
yeah, they had bigger stars. They had bigger like well-known, prolific voice actors.
Yeah, like this actually had a budget behind it, and like something with a real budget that like the studio really didn't touch as far as the source material goes.
Yeah,
like kudos to Mr. Ben Jones. He was the creative director. Good for him.
Yeah, it's interesting that, Axe Cop got this show that was like actually really good and like had a really good budget and was actually, very close to the source material. And Clerks was like didn't get picked up like Clerks the TV show, like Axe Cop did, but Clerks the TV show didn't. And it again like similar situation where it had a great, I guess it was kind of lower budget, but like great voice actors, great story. It was actually really close to the source material. It was written by Kevin Smith. He was directly involved with it, but that didn't get picked up. It's just weird how like I guess times have changed a little bit.
Yeah. Well, the Clerks animated series was years before this.
Yeah.
The Axe Cop show was. Let me pull it up right here. What year was it? 2013. So
Clerks the animated series came at a time also that was people still really didn't take adult animation that seriously. Like people didn't thought like cartoons for adults, like there was The Simpsons, but most other cartoons for adults at that time didn't really go anywhere. They weren't that successful. So I think Family Guy kind of changed that a little bit, and then Adult Swim, all the Adult Swim shows changed that, and showed that there was an adult market for cartoons. So I guess Axe Cop really came at the right time because you had, now it's there's so many adult cartoons. There's probably as many adult cartoons as there are cartoons for kids now.
I would think so, or at least with the with like YouTube and like the internet, there's just more places to do it.
Yeah.
It's one of the few good things about the internet.
Well, I mean, even in the mainstream, there's way more adult animation now than ever before. It's
for sure.
It's like considered like pretty normal now, as opposed to like 20 or 30 years ago, where it was more mocked, I guess you could say.
Yeah. I don't know. I wouldn't say mocked. I would say
I don't know. Well,
I would say
stigma behind it, like cartoons are for kids, not for adults.
Yeah, I would say that for sure.
Yeah,
or like they're just or if you were gonna do an adult cartoon, then like, like you weren't really like I guess whoever the animation studio is or the network really wasn't really going to budget a whole lot because they weren't expecting a big success, so they were like few and far between of when they would actually do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were like, I mean, I guess they just didn't view it as like a moneymaker because it was just a largely untested market where they were like, well, like why would you want to do a cartoon for an adult? That's stupid. Why don't you just like want to do a cartoon? Just do a cartoon, and we'll like we'll try to get you in at like a 4:30 time slot or something. But why would if you're gonna do a cartoon, why would you cater it to adults? Adults don't want to watch it. Like I could see many executives just saying that because of course, as we know, executives are stupid.
Yeah. Well, 9 times out of 10 they're old people, so it's like they were kind of like out of touch of what like younger adults would watch or enjoy.
I'm not even gonna I'm not gonna go into an ageism thing. That does happen more often than not. But trust me, I've seen plenty of CEOs in their like 20s, 30s, 40s who are complete morons. Like I won't say the place, but I worked at one place where like the CEO was like a year or two younger than I was, and like he like at the time this was like my early 20s, and he like was expecting the company to just naturally take off because he knew like a couple of guys who worked for certain news outlets. And we would only get the spike when he would do an interview with one of these things, and it was a very short spike. And there was at one point where we kept seeing the numbers like just not like their web traffic wasn't that high, and I was like, and one day I was like, well, what's going on with the marketing department? And he was like, we don't have a marketing department. I was like, you what?
That's that's not good.
Yeah, so I mean, like shocker, he like laid off like 3/4 of the staff like months later because he didn't know what he was doing, and I don't even know if it's still a company. Honestly, if it is, I hope he learned something. If not, then I hope he learned something.
Well, yeah.
But if he didn't, then too bad. You reap what you sow.
Yeah.
I just feel I just remember my mind was just blown. But I've also seen, there was another company that I worked for where the CEO was just like, he was never there. Like he was never there, but he had to do all these things. And he was like, and like one time I asked him point blank, I was like, you haven't really been in the office. Like, are you taking care of meetings? Is everything okay? Because it was a smaller company. And he was like, no, I'm not even sure what I have to do. And I was like, you what?
Oh my God.
Like just baffling things. I was like, how do you not know how to run I was like, you have to do all of it in a way. You like, how do you not know your department? And then there was most of the CEOs that I've worked under have been complete morons.
That's
let me just be honest with you. They're complete morons. I mean, even if if they're not out of touch, they just have absolutely no clue what's going on half the time. Like, I'm not saying every CEO. There's many CEOs that know what they're doing and run a...
Well, obviously, because they're successful companies. Otherwise,
Well, no, the success might not have anything to do with the CEO.
Yeah.
I mean, you might just have like a good structure, and then eventually, the CEO just happens to be an idiot.
Well, I guess I'm thinking more of the founder of the company would have to be somewhat smart.
Yeah, I would say I would say that. I would say the founders are usually pretty good, and then eventually there's a CEO who's an idiot. Warren Buffett has a great quote on that, because he's a value investor, and I'll get back into Axe Cop like right after this, because otherwise I'll go on another tangent. But his quote is, invest in when you choose a company, invest in the company as if it's being run by a complete fool, because one day it will be.
Right. That well makes sense, you know.
Like it's just his way of saying, listen, you got to weather the storm and you got to be prepared for everything, for anything. If you're going to invest in a company, you should do it for the long haul because there's gonna
Yeah.
be good days and bad days. Disney is a huge example of that.
Yeah.
Like Walt Disney, great obviously the founder, great, knew what he was doing, had a vision.
Mm-hmm.
I think his brother ended up taking over after for a little while after he
Mm-hmm.
passed, and then I forget which CEO it was, but like one of the CEOs after his brother had it had controlled Disney. One of them was like he had something. He was like a former NFL player or something, and
Oh God.
that guy was a complete idiot. He like
Probably had brain damage if he was a former NFL player.
probably he had something to do with the NFL or like athletics, but he was just like a jockey idiot who like didn't even know what the hell he was getting himself into. Didn't really understand the company. Didn't know his ass from his elbow.
Mhm.
But like somehow this guy's in charge. He didn't last that long.
Well,
And then like and then they had Bob Iger. I'm sorry, not Bob Iger. What the hell was the guy before? Michael Eisner.
Mike Eisner, yeah.
Michael Eisner was hit and miss. Like he helped turn things around with the animation department, but another thing
Yeah.
tried to expand the like Disney into like everything, and he oversaturated everything with Disney, where it was like stuff that just made zero sense for Disney to do, and he like wasted too much money on like Disneyland Paris, but it had nothing. It had very few Disney elements in it, so it was like, why am I even going here?
Right.
So like he nearly killed he turned the company around, but he nearly killed it also. And then like it was revived again, like on his way out, kind of.
Well, yeah, because
So like he was like a roller coaster, and then you had Bob Iger, who was really great, really like put Disney into like its prime,
yeah,
or it's like its modern prime, really. So like that guy was really great. And now you have the new guy. I think his name is Bob Chapek or something like that. It's another Bob.
yeah,
Of course, it goes to the Bobs. I'm not. I mean, he's only been there like a year a year and change now. Like he took over like basically at the start of the pandemic. So like
right.
he basically got like thrown into a world of crap.
Yeah, but also,
So all he's doing is like he's just slashing costs, which I don't like. I understand it, but like it's friggin' Disney. Like how many things can you slash? And now they're like trying to make their like new fast pass thing. They're calling it something else, and they're like it's like triple the price of a fast pass, so that
God,
try to like make it like it seems like he's like touch and go and he doesn't quite like have a handle on things. So I'm not sure. I mean, maybe like after the pandemic is like totally over, he'll like figure something out, or like maybe he'll just like tank the company. I have no idea.
well, I mean, I thought that he would have to try really hard to tank the company because really
Yeah.
Disney right now is a gold mine because you have Disney Plus that came out towards the beginning of the well, it was a little bit before the pandemic, I think. Disney Plus.
Yeah, like September.
Yeah,
I guess September
and
2019.
so you have that. You have friggin' The Mandalorian. You have all these new Star Wars shows coming out. You have all these new Marvel shows coming out. If you tank the company at this point, plus you have like all these the Disney live action remakes that they've been doing that are like killing right now. You know, if you tank the company with all that like being handed to you, then you're really a poor businessman.
Yeah.
Because they have so many money makers right now, Disney, that it's like out of control.
Yeah,
You know?
it's virtually
Plus-
impossible to stop this company.
Everyone's like, oh, the pandemic hurt movie companies so bad. But yet Disney really didn't because they just released their movies on Disney Plus and you still had to pay for them. So it was like you were buying a movie ticket. Like, like Mulan, when it came out, you had to pay to rent it, even if you paid already for Disney Plus.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
they're
I
making-
didn't.
they were
I
making
friggin' I waited, but like they were making
money
hand
like,
over
yeah.
fist. Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot. So, because plenty of people did buy it when it came out, Milan, and plenty of people bought Cruella when rented Cruella to watch it. So
I think Cruella was free.
no, you have to pay for it. I'm pretty sure as well.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'm interested. I actually want to watch that. I heard good things about it. Emma Stone
Yeah.
is like good in pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Like I can't think of a movie that I've seen with her that I didn't like. I mean, also I'm biased. I had like the biggest crush on her in like high school and college, and I still do.
Oh yeah.
The missus knows that. She's my hall pass. She's a hall. Probably the hall pass of hall passes for me.
Yeah.
But I've heard good things about that movie. I want Luca. All right, we're starting to go way off. Back to speaking of animations, Axe Cop. Okay. So to get onto the comic itself, it's the adventures of a police officer who prefers to wield an axe in battle, and he's dedicated. He's like married to being a cop, and like in this world, you don't like the way that things happen. It's the logic of a 5-year-old. Like there's different there's different planets in the Axe Cop universe, and like every planet is like it inhabits a very specific type of species. So like there's the baby planet, there's the human planet where Axe Cop's on, or like the hero planet I think he's on, like good guys and bad guys or something like that. There's like the dragon alien planet that has dragon aliens.
There's a dinosaur planet, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, there is a dinosaur planet, but also like the way that you turn into certain things, it's like if you get blood on you.
Yeah, if you're exposed to the blood
to the blood of a thing,
you become that thing.
Yeah, you suddenly shapeshift. So
it's like Spider-Man, except instead of like getting bit by a spider, you get blood of the thing on you.
Yeah, you just get spider blood on you, and it's like whatever. Like, I mean, Charlie Sheen would be half tiger.
Oh God.
Well, I mean, he'd be a half tiger with AIDS, but like, I don't know. I guess he'd be AIDS Tiger Man. I don't know.
Half tiger, half coke.
Yeah, well, unless like the coca plant would bleed on him.
Oh God,
I don't know.
Yeah, but well, he was already a fucking tiger addicted to coke.
Yeah, remember when people cared about him?
Yeah, we haven't heard much from Charlie Sheen ever since like he came out that he had AIDS and like was like basically like having unprotected sex with people while he had AIDS. Like he's kind of gone off just off the radar completely.
Yeah, like I mean, we all expect like when I found out, I like there were two reactions that myself and many people, including coworkers and family members and friends, we all had I think the world had a general consensus of none of us were surprised.
Yeah.
And two, we thought that he would, like the day that he announced it, we were like, okay, well, one, I'm not surprised, and two, he's probably gonna like die tomorrow because this is the way that like.
Well, yeah, that was like what happened with Eazy-E.
Eazy-E, Freddie Mercury, like
Freddie Mercury,
pretty much everybody who like, pretty much every celebrity that like tells everybody, hey, I have this terrible disease that's terminal, they like die the next day.
Yeah. Lemmy, I mean, not AIDS, but he had cancer, and pretty much found out he had cancer, was dead a week later, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
somehow he's, this guy is still kicking, doing whatever it is that he's doing. I'm not even...
Like fucking drinks blood of virgins or some shit. Some crazy shit, knowing Charlie Sheen.
Probably. Anyway, so like you get the blood of things. He would be Virgin Man, and I don't know how that happened.
Oh, God.
And you go back in that planet. All right, we're going too far on this. These are questions that should not be answered by us, but possibly...
Or any human.
Or any human. Possibly a ragtag group of rogues. I haven't said that in a while. But Axe Cop is surrounded by a ragtag group of rogues. That includes his brother, who is Flute Cop, and then becomes Dinosaur Soldier when dinosaur blood gets on him.
Yes.
Like a dinosaur cop soldier thing. Wexler, which is, as we mentioned before, a T-Rex... with like a T-Rex police officer pet thing that has
Those Gatling guns for arms.
yes. I wish that I had thought about that before I had gotten a I wish that I had seen Axe Cop before I had gotten a dragon tattoo, because then I would have gotten a tattoo of Wexter. And
He also breathes fire and can fly.
yes, he can. And we've got like plenty of them. He's also got a dog, Ralph Wrinkles, who is just a talking cop dog. And they just have like Sakurang, as we mentioned before, Baby Man, Uni Man, which is just a man with a unicorn head, Uni Baby. He's got all these things. Bat Warthog Man, like you name it. He's got a bunch of weird stuff. At one point, he gets married. Like there's a comic where he gets there's like a whole thing where he gets married. There's like an arc. He gets married to like I forget. He's like he has like
He's married to Axe Girl.
Yeah, he gets married to Axe Girl, and he has like
But then gets like divorced by the end of the freaking comic.
yeah, because he gets married, and he doesn't want to settle down and like have children. He just wants to like
Be a cop.
yeah, he just wants to be a cop. Like at one point he was like it's a weird story arc. Also at night, for some reason, Axe Cop wears like a black cat suit, and he kills bad guys in their sleep. Axe Cop's like catchphrase is "I will chop your head off," which he does most of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, he like it's just weird, funny stuff. Oh, that's what it was. He got engaged to the Water Queen later on.
Yes.
He just does stuff. But Flute Cop has a series of transformations throughout it. He like at one point, he becomes an avocado soldier. He becomes Uni Avocado Soldier because like he eats an avocado and it turns him into Avocado Soldier, and then Uni Baby, which is a baby with a unicorn horn that grants it magical powers. Like everybody on the unicorn planet they all have unicorn horns.
Yeah.
They're people, and like and they can they have magic powers that can come from a unicorn horn. You see, the logic actually makes sense, but it's just like the idea is just it's from a child, but there's real thought and logic behind it. I mean, I'm sure Ethan had put more logic into things.
Well, he even said he said that basically what he would do is he would play this game with his brother. His brother would kind of come up with like the lore, the storyline, the characters. Ethan basically would write it down as his brother was talking about it, and then he would kind of organize it to make it make sense and draw it basically. So Malachi, was like the primary story writer, I guess you could say, and Ethan kind of was like the editor, I suppose, and then the artist, obviously.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because obviously, like a kid's this probably has a stream of consciousness, like. So you have to kind of like write it down and then organize a little bit, so to make it like to make it flow and make it like actual make sense, not just like jumbled up ideas,
Right. I mean, also, and kids just have a ton of energy.
Well, yeah.
Just by default, kids have just limitless energy. It seems at like most of the time, and like you just have to. It's taxing to keep up with them. Like my nephew. Well, I have several nephews now. But the older one, he just turned 3. Like he's a ball of energy. He's running around. The other one is 1, and he's like he's really getting his like steps in. So like he's like he's a good balanced walker now. But he's not running yet, but he probably will be in like a couple of months.
Nice.
Older one, forget it. He's bouncing off the walls everywhere, and he likes to build. He likes to build with like blocks, as children do. But he likes his trucks. He likes running around and just like doing things. He likes cleaning, which is funny. He really
Yeah,
likes
that's a
cleaning.
lot of kids do. Like, so it's because they just to them it's a game. It's not like cleaning. It's not a chore. Which again goes back to like the innocence of a child. It's easy for them to entertain themselves. Where something that we don't want to do and it's boring. It's to them it's fun.
Right, but just to like make it a little, just to put some context in like how kids are. The other day it was his third birthday party, so
Hmm.
we were playing with him towards the end. Not quite when like around, and it was around when he was starting in that phase where they have that last burst of energy to where they start to get tired and they just want to you know watch their bedtime show and then like go to bed.
Hmm.
So like we were just playing a game where he had these inflatable tires, and he had these inflatable tires, like little, like just these little tires, and we were using them as shields, and we had to cover our faces with these tires, and like, and we had to make like a wall of tires between him, myself, and my lady, and
Hmm.
like her, so like, and like the reason for this was we had to be really quiet because he had because like Rex from Toy Story on the other side of the room was sleeping and he couldn't, and if he woke up he would eat me. Not her. He went right after me. Like he loves my he loves my like my facial reactions to things, and
Yeah.
and like I guess there's something about the pitch that I do when I do my play screen with him
Hmm.
that like it just cracks him up. So
Yeah.
it's always like he's gonna eat us, and I'm like, by us you mean me. so like it was it's the same back and forth. We're like put the tire on. He tells you to be quiet, and then you just hear oh no, and then he starts laughing, grabs the T Rex, and then the T Rex starts eating me.
Yeah.
And that's on loop for like probably an hour. But then, like, all the other adults are there just doing their own thing. Some of them are watching, some of them are like trying to have a regular conversation, and he's like, I don't care. Like, I'm having fun. And like the logic even makes sense to a child where it's like, get behind this thing so that the T Rex doesn't see you, be quiet. Oh no, the T Rex woke up. Now he's gonna get you. Like,
Yeah.
it's silly, but it makes sense. He has not yet watched Jurassic Park, so
Uh-huh.
his parents don't really understand where he got that idea that dinosaurs should eat people. But
I mean, if he's ever had like a dinosaur, it's amazing what they can absorb, like because their
yes,
brains, like it's like they're any information that they see, they like remember it immediately, even if they see it once. So it's like, he might have like just seen it like in passing on a commercial or read it in a book or something, and like just, you know,
maybe.
it's crazy. I mean, it really like it's amazing that it doesn't there's not too like more things like Axe Cop, because like the mind of a child is like limitlessly creative, you know. I think there
Yeah,
was a if I remember correctly, there was an episode of Dexter's Lab that was made by all like fans of the show. It was like a
really.
bunch of kids. I think it was Dexter's Lab. I know it was one of those like 90s Cartoon Network cartoons. And they basically did a whole episode where like it was like told by like a little kid. It might have been like Jenny Tartakovsky's like nephew or something like that, that like
Hmm,
wrote it basically, but he was like 6, and it was like just a funny like, again, same kind of humor where it's just not this like surrealist non sequitur humor.
that's awesome.
I would say
I did not
kids
know
are
that.
I'm pretty yeah, I like I said, I'm pretty sure it was Dexter's Lab, but it might have been one of those other shows. But
I'll have to look
Jenny
for it.
Tartakovsky. But like kids are really like masters of non sequitur and surrealist humor, because they're not inhibited by what we think is funny. They just whatever comes to their mind that they think is funny is funny. It's not like more adult humor where it's like it has to have some kind of structure to it, you know?
But it works.
Yeah, it does.
It works, and I mean, like he does. Ethan Nicole has. He's since like he's a dad now, and he does things. And Axe Cop has kind of been on hiatus for a little while. It also won a bunch of web comic awards, by the way, and like it won like a graphic novels for. It was like on the top 10 list of like graphic novels for teens in 2012, but in 2011, like was really where like it boomed because it started getting a bunch of awards, like Eagle Award, Sheldorf, and he was a guest at the San Diego Comic Con in 2011, which is pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
He hasn't done like Axe Cop has kind of been on hiatus for a while because like he's got a family and he does other things. He's got another one called Bearmageddon, which is another web comic.
Yeah.
Just bearmageddon.com. You just do a bunch of stuff. That one he's been doing a little bit more frequently. He did a book that kind of that it was backed by people on Kickstarter. It's called Bears Want to Kill You, where
Yes.
it's just a survival guide for just surviving a bear. Like, but it's of course like similar non sequitur humor, and it's just very silly. Where
Yes.
He here's like the brief synopsis. In Bears Want to Kill You, author Ethan Nicole exposes the lies about bear safety, bear spray, bear traps, bear necessities, and gives you the truth about bear fighting, bear species, jujitsu versus bears, bear avoidance, like, and other things. Like there's like on the website, like bearswanttokillyou.com. It's just like really funny. Basic bear attacks here is like clawing, biting, side suplex, tornado pile driver, head snack, and the spine rip, which is an obvious homage to Mortal Kombat. It's very funny. And there's a bunch of t-shirts you can get and stuff like that. Like this bear puncher shirt. It's just like it's just a guy punching a bear. It reminds me of there's a magic card like that where it's a guy punching the bear in the face. I think it's called like Epic Punch or something like that. Where like it's just funny. No, I'm sorry. There's Savage Punch. That's the one.
Okay.
There's like three like different variations of them for whatever reason. Like one was on like Savage Punch is like the regular one where it's just like a it's I don't know if you can see it. It's this card right here. It's just called Savage Punch, and it's it's like a fight spell, and like this like it's
punching a bear
in the face. And there's like that was I think it was in the Cons of Tarkir set, and then when they did the Fate Reforged and they changed the landscape for like the story arc, there was Epic Confrontation, which was like a similar thing, but except it's a guy punching a dragon in the face, because in the Cons and like dragon storyline, like in Cons all the dragons were like they like died off or they were killed off by like these like various clans, and they won a war against dragons basically, and then like so like it was just them and land. It was just like the fighting amongst the clans, the Khans, and then in Fate Reforged, one of them like alters the timeline. This Planeswalker Sarkhan Bull, he alters the timeline. I think it's him. No, it's not him. It might be him punching the things in the face. But like then he manipulates the timeline, and then he like goes into like in dragons. The dragons live, so like all the Khans are like defeated, and there's like now it's the dragons' armies. So like this like what if scenario where he like fixed the timeline essentially, and then they did an unset like a few years ago. I think it was called Unstable. And they did like the card Really Epic Punch,
Yeah,
Like the artwork is a bear punching a dragon.
that's hilarious.
So it's just funny. They like so like that's kind of what like this bears want to kill you thing kind of reminds me of the bear punch
Yeah,
shirt. And then
yeah,
they have a bunch of cool stuff. You could buy the book on Amazon and like where other books are sold, I guess. But he does a lot of stuff right now. There's also that what the hell is the name of it? The Bee or something like that.
oh yeah, he was the I believe the editor or someone. Hold on, me is it creative director for Babylon Bee, which is
Babylon Bee. That's it.
it's a news satire website that leans conservative, but so you could say it's the conservative version of the Onion, essentially. They have some pretty hilarious articles.
It is very funny. Both the Onion and the Bee, they're just hilarious
Yeah,
of them, and I like, like it doesn't matter like what side you lean. And funny is funny. Like leave the like who cares about politics? If it's
right.
funny, then it's funny, and if it's not funny, then well, then you just don't get it. Not every joke is for every person. There's plenty of things that I don't think is funny that you might think is hilarious, and there's plenty of things that I might think are absolutely hysterical that you might think is just like the dumbest thing in the world. So like everybody's
Right.
different. Who cares? There's no like as far as I'm concerned, this war of comedy is just a stupid non-war, and like just shut up, like it, don't like it, do something else. I don't care. Like it's like don't make a whole thing about it. We won't get into like the whole like cancer culture nonsense or whatever the hell it is. I don't care. We're not going to talk about
Yeah.
We've talked about it enough, and I think the world has talked about it enough that like
Yeah.
want to keep beating a dead horse. I think these people, these good humans who are listening to the show and or aliens, I'm not going to discriminate, at farm animals, pets, whatever it is, insects, whatever it is that's listening to this thing. I don't
Extra dimensional beings.
extra dimensional beings. These all encompassing living, dead, and undead creatures of the Galactic Federation. I think that covers everything. Like,
Yeah.
just want to get the hell away from that stuff, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. But he does a bunch of stuff. He's a dad. He's I'm sure him and Malachi have enough money to like be all right, or
Well, yeah. Now. Yeah.
college fund. Because
Well, Malachi's got to be
he's like
kinda
13
older
maybe.
now.
He's got to be
Yeah,
like
it's-
somewhere between 13 and 15.
Yeah, he was what 5 in 2011. So
2009 he was 5.
yeah, so he's like like a teenager now.
Yeah, so
So that could be a reason why they don't do Abs Cop anymore either. Is that Malachi's grown up? It's
yeah, because like the humor, like I mean, the thing when it's like is when it's in the unique situation like this where Axe Cop is written by a 5-year-old. The 5-year-old humor, it's eventually going to go away because just not going to be. You're not going to be in that age range. You're going to be like once you become a teenager, your humor is going to change for the most part. Like, yes, there's still going to be some things like even into adulthood that cracked you up as a child. That you're just always going to find funny, and is different for every person. But there's always something that you thought was hilarious as a kid that you will always find funny. Like, up until you're an old person, how it is. But a lot of other things are just going to change as far as like what you find funny.
well, he also might. You never know. He might be able to start it up again with his son. As his son grows up, might
That
come up with
would,
new stories.
I mean, that would be interesting. His son
Yeah,
is got to be like 4.
yeah, 3 or 4 now. Probably.
Yeah, like 3 or 4 by now. He had the kid in 2017, so I
Yeah.
think. Yeah, so it's possible that like it would just be father and son.
Yeah, I remember there
Would
was
be
this
great.
it was this manga artist on Instagram or something that basically he would take his child's like drawings, like these characters that his like 5 or 6 year old would draw, and he would draw them in like an anime style, like really like obviously like well. He would take like these little sketches and doodles that his child did and like redraw them as actual like characters, like robots and anime characters and superheroes and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
And yeah, uh, and it was pretty cool. So I could see him doing maybe something like that.
Yeah, I like cool stuff like that. You don't see it too often, but like
Yeah,
little things like that are they really brighten your day when you see it. Like, I mean,
yeah,
this is more real life and not and not like not animation based, but like one thing that I always thought was really cool was that Gordie Howe, Mr. Hockey, played for the Detroit Red Wings. He like his sons ended up getting into the NHL too, and at one point, him and his two sons were all on the Red Wings together.
oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's something like just stuff like that you don't see every day. That's just it's really big. It's really cool to see.
I think there's actually an NFL player now that his son is in college, and he's still playing in the NFL. And so his son is going to possibly be drafted this coming season, or next season or something. So like he might actually play a football with his son, like
That's
at
cool.
professional football. Yeah,
That's really cool.
yeah. I forget what team he's on. I forget, but
Yeah.
I saw an article about it recently.
Alrighty. Well, we're getting to the we're about an hour and 10 minutes in. Just
All right.
wrap it up. I want to point out. I want to give a shout out to some of our buddies from our metal days. Lich King, actually, the main guy behind the thrash band Lich King, Tom Martin. Actually, he's first of all, hi Tom. Second of all, hi Mike. Third, hi Brian. We had the luxury to actually play a show with those guys, which was a lot of fun. We did like a barbecue show. We used to do a barbecue, for those of you who don't know, every year for about 5 years at your place in undisclosed location.
Hello.
And
I think I lost you.
it was just a really cool thing that we did, our Thrash Bash events. But it was a lot of fun, and we used to play. We got the chance to play with the Lich King guys for the last show that we had done at the barbecue, and they had done a song dedicated to Axe Cop on one of their albums. I believe it was the fourth album. Let me just double check this right here. Okay, yeah, it's on their album "Born of the Bomb," which was their fourth album, Lich King. I think what they were supporting when we got to play with them, I believe.
I think it was Born of the Bomb, I believe.
Yeah, but that was a fun show, and Lich King really like killed it. I actually was going to see Lich King like the week after the pandemic hit. I had tickets thing, and like like they were gonna come through and do a big tour, and they ended up just doing like a stream from their practice space.
Yeah,
what their set would have been, and it would have been like I haven't seen those guys since we did the barbecue show.
Yeah,
and like I mean the bass player Mike, we played with him in Condition Critical when like we basically we helped get those guys their first couple of shows before like we knew that they were the baddest band on the planet before anybody else did. So I hope that they're doing okay, all the Lich King folks and the Crit boys. I don't know what to call them, the Crit Commanders. I don't know. But I hope that they're doing okay. Mike's a monstrous bass player. He's got the best freaking tone. He just did something with it was like a super group with Jose Barales from who used to be in Bonded by Blood, and a bunch of the Bonded by Blood guys, and like a bunch of other guys in the thrash in like the LA thrash world, who like actually like know what the hell they're doing and have their stuff together. Unlike us suffering bands on the East Coast.
Oh,
They what the hell did he do? He did something, but like anyway, Lich King, they absolutely love the they absolutely love the song, they absolutely love Axe Cop to the point where Tom has actually, or like they have an Axe Cop song on Born of the Bomb that like just embodies and like sums up the freaking like the cartoon, and they have like a goofy little video on their YouTube page as well. Tom has actually he's actually drawn a couple of like a couple of web comics here, like a couple of comics of Axe Cop here and there.
yes.
And he's done a lot of like he's done some variant covers too. It's like it's very cool how, like, you know, this just kind of happened. So I just wanted to say that before we before we wrap this thing up, like just how Lich King had just turned this into like a huge thing. Oh, Agnoxia. That's the thing that they're doing. They just released like a thing, and they're apparently doing a stop motion video for their for whatever for their music video they're gonna do.
That's cool. Stop motion's an interesting thing for a music video.
Yeah, it's something that you haven't really seen in a long time, if they ever did at all. But I don't think they ever did that on like in thrash metal. But it's cool, and I bet it's funny, and it looks like they die in like horrible ways, but it's funny because they're stop motion.
Yeah.
All right, that's all that I got to say about that. Hi guys, thanks for listening. If you're listening, hope you guys are doing okay, and I want to see you guys on the road when this whole thing is officially over. We got a lot of people who are, you know, in total denial and think that it's just over because there's like a vaccine and people are going down, but they don't, like, you know, there's still something like it's not a cure. It's just like, and you know, there's the efficacy rate is not 100%. So like, there's still stuff going around there. I mean, yeah, we've got things a little bit more under control, but like, you know, how much do you really know? But just do you have any last words on this, or can I close the book on Axe Cop?
I think we can close it. You know, it's a pretty good little comic. It's a nice little thing that they did, you know, kind of sibling bonding thing that turned into a nice little comic. It's pretty funny.
Even on its own TV show, like there's, you know, it was just, it wasn't supposed to make it, but it did, and I'm glad that it did.
Yeah.
So that gives me a lot of hope for creators. As long as you have something that's, you know, that's really good, and you know, you just keep it in your own world. You don't try to connect too much of reality in there. You give people like a nice way to escape, or like, you know, or just like something funny to just like brighten their day and just make things a little bit better. Then, you know, people will appreciate it. So thank you guys for everything that you're doing, for supporting the show and just helping us out here. You know, I just want to say thanks again. This is Why Does This Exist? I've been Chris.
I've been Rob.
And remember, everybody, question everything.